Experts say thrill killers are driven by the need to feel powerful. What makes them terrifying is that they don't always look dangerous. Some are quiet, some are successful, some raise families, and some of them never warn anyone. Today, we're looking at a woman who did not act alone and whose crimes were hidden behind something that should have felt safe: family. Today's episode of Women That Kill is produced by A. Willis. In this episode, we're examining Inessa Tarverdiyeva, a woman who became part of one of Russia's most disturbing family-based crime sprees. Journalists later called the group the Gang of Amazons, not because they named themselves that, but because women appeared to dominate the group, and the name carried a dangerous symbolism. In Greek mythology, the Amazons were warriors, daughters of Ares, the god of war, strong, fearless, separate from men. But these real-life Amazons were not myth. They were a real family, living an upper-middle-class life in a comfortable home in the village of Divnoye in Stavropol Krai. And for years, no one suspected what they were doing. The ringleader was Inessa. Everyone called her Ina, though her passport said Inessa. She grew up with her mother, stepfather, and younger brother. She was described as beautiful, popular, protected closely by her stepfather. She became a nursery school teacher, a homemaker, a mother. Nothing about her life suggested violence. And yet, this is where the story quietly breaks. Because before the murders, there was a death. Inessa married her first husband, Arzu, and had a daughter, Victoria. Later, while still married, she met Roman Podkopev, a registered dentist. Not long after that, Inessa's first husband died under mysterious circumstances at the power station where he worked. Roman was suspected, but no charges were ever filed. Roman and Inessa married soon after. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Inessa had an affair with a police officer. She was madly in love with him. The relationship ended when the officer left her for another woman. Investigators believe something changed. Inessa developed a deep hatred for the police, not abstract, not political, personal, and this hatred would soon become operational. Inessa did not work alone. She recruited her husband, Roman, her eldest daughter, Victoria, her younger daughter, Anastasia, only 13 at the time, and Roman's brother-in-law, Sergei, a police officer. Sergei provided inside information, patrol movements, procedures, and blind spots. The family began to take camping trips, and no one questioned why the family took so many camping trips. Because those trips weren't vacations. Over approximately 6 years, the family committed between 10 and possibly up to 30 murders across southern Russia. Victims included civilians, government workers, and police officers. The crimes were calculated. Weapons were stolen from officers. Homes were targeted. Evidence was transported and hidden. To the family, investigators later said, murder and robbery became routine, like a job. On February 17, 2008, in Aksai, the group murdered Mikhail Slidnev, head of information security for the State Drug Control Service, and his wife. This wasn't random. This was targeted. Despite the high-profile deaths, the Gang of Amazons continued to kill without any fear of being caught. To understand how this continued for so long, you need to understand Russia at the time. The country was under strain from a variety of issues: a leadership transition, economic collapse due to the global financial crisis, rising inequality and unemployment, and declining trust in institutions. These conditions didn't create the crimes, but they made them harder to stop. During the late 2000s and early 2010s, parts of Russia were marked by institutional instability, strained law enforcement systems, and uneven access to resources. Police departments were often underfunded, corruption was widely reported, and coordination between regions was weak. These conditions made it easier for violent offenders to move, blend in, and avoid detection. Inessa and her accomplices exploited these gaps. They targeted isolated locations, changed regions, used stolen weapons, and relied on the reality that separate crimes were not always quickly connected. Limited investigative technology, bureaucratic delays, and overworked police forces meant that patterns emerged more slowly. Each delay gave the group more time, more opportunities, more victims. Her case is not only a story of individual brutality, it is also a case study in how fragile systems can fail to interrupt escalating violence. Where institutions are stretched thin, trust is low, and investigative resources are uneven, crime is more likely to remain unchecked. In that sense, this spree reflects not just who Inessa was, but also the environment that allowed her to operate for years before she was finally stopped. In 2013, Roman and Victoria were stopped during a routine ID check by patrol officer Ivan Shakovoy. Roman didn't show documents. Instead, he opened fire. The officer was killed. Backup arrived. Roman was killed in the confrontation, and for the first time, the family was exposed. But Roman's death didn't end the crimes. It revealed them. Police followed the trail to a campsite. What they found? Over 20 firearms, silencers, grenades, ammunition, and stolen property from victims. Inessa and Anastasia were arrested at the site. The evidence tied the family to dozens of murders. During questioning, chilling details were revealed. Investigators noticed something disturbing. Inessa showed pride. She described killing police officers as justified. She said she hated them. She referred to the crimes as routine, like going to work. At one point, she reportedly said it was a pity they hadn't killed more. Inessa was found guilty. Russia had a moratorium on the death penalty. Instead, courts imposed lengthy prison sentences. Inessa and her accomplices were sentenced to lengthy prison terms, with Inessa receiving 21 years. Many believed it was light, given the number of victims and the targeting of police. Inessa Tarverdiyeva was not a loner, not desperate, not visibly unstable. She was a teacher, a mother, the center of a family, and that may be the most unsettling part, because her crimes remind us that sometimes the most dangerous people aren't hiding from society. They're living quietly inside it. If you want to learn more about women that kill, check out my playlist. And remember, not all threats announce themselves.